It's unbelievable how bad this team becomes when Aaron Judge isn't hitting. It's like the way he goes, they go.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
When it rains, it pours?
I don't know. Nothing's pouring down for the Yankees right now. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. We also have a new TikTok page. If you're there, you can follow us at LockedOn_Yankees. So on today's show, we'll be previewing the finale between the Yankees and the Angels. Hopefully the Yankees can figure out how to score at some point during that finale. We're going to be talking about the Yankees roster and how it's not good and how it should have been constructed better. But first, let's talk about Game 2 of the Angels. Not that there's much to talk about because, the Yankees are horrifically bad. They are just, it's a chore to watch them right now.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there's a lot to talk about. They're making history right now with the lack of scoring they're doing, lack of effort they're making out on the base paths. We said it in yesterday's show. The base running, atrocious. Looked really bad, was really bad. And they're struggling right now at all levels to score runs. The at-bats look terrible. They're getting dominated by pitchers that, Kyle Hendricks. I mean, we see Ryan Yarbrough not throw for a lot of velocity and dominate guys. So I guess it can happen in today's league, but Kyle Hendricks put on an absolute clinic out there against the Yankees. This is not good. 29 straight innings without scoring a run, 3 straight games, 5 straight losses. Stacey, it doesn't get worse than this.
Well, it does. It does, because the Yankees' record for their longest scoreless streak is 37 innings, and that happened way back in 1908. You know what else happened in 1908? My grandmother was born in 1908, and she lived to be 104, and she passed away in 2013. That's a long time ago. It's unbelievable how bad this team becomes when Aaron Judge isn't hitting. It's like the way he goes, they go. No one can step up when he's not hitting. They just fall apart completely, and I do not understand how this is possible. And Boone, he tried to fix the lineup and get them going and, put Dominguez at the top. I still don't like Volpe and Wells back-to-back because those two back-to-back just don't do anything right now. And I don't know what else they can do right now, but they just need to run. When a person is in a slump, like when a guy's in a slump and they get like a dinky hit and it kind of gets them going, the Yankees just need one run. That's all they need to get themselves going, and they can't even get that.
Yeah, they're playing unbelievably atrocious right now all over the field. This is the 8th time in Major League history that a team has fielded 4 former MVPs in the same lineup in a game out there, believe it or not. And that's with Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo, Stanton, and Paul Goldschmidt. Stacey, this is the first time one of those lineups has ever been shut out. It is insane how bad this team is playing right now. It's unfathomable to me. And the one thing I'll say, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this before we've even discussed it, manager after the game saying he thought they had good at-bats. I know they're not. We both know they're not going to fire him. We both know his job is safe. But does it ever not annoy the entire Yankee fan base, or even, heck, the Yankee owner? I feel like if you're Hal Steinbrenner, and I know you want a player-friendly manager and you want a guy that they're all comfortable with, absolutely. Does it ever slightly aggravate you when they literally don't score a run for 29 consecutive innings and you have the nerve to go up there and say he likes their at-bats?
Yeah.
Give me a break. I even understand saying it on Monday night because Bellinger had the ball that he hit to right field that he really got all of, and on a hot summer night probably goes out.
And Stanton got some stuff. And
Judge had one. I get it. But Stacey, in this game, Kyle Hendricks looked like Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs.
Right.
He dominated them. They
Yeah.
had no chance in this game. I mean, give me a break. It's not like the Angels were impressive either, by the way. Will Warren was unbelievable. But to have to sit there and hear that he liked their at-bats and they had some good at-bats. Were we watching the same game?
Well, that's his MO. I mean, we should be used to this by now after how many seasons of Aaron Boone at the helm. It's, a guy can get rocked for 8 runs in 2/3 of an inning and have to be taken out of a game. And they'll say, oh, well, he had some good stuff early.
You're allowed to criticize your players. I think if they interviewed Aaron Judge after this game, I didn't see his quotes, but if they spoke to him, I'm sure he'd say they didn't play well enough. I'm sure he'd say that they need to score more runs. I'm sure he'd say they need to be better. So I don't understand why you can't criticize players when it's such an obvious thing to even say. It's not exactly a bold take to the Yankees need to play better out there in these games. That's what aggravates me. To go out there and think that the Yankees' confidence is going to get built up because at least the manager still has their back. He's going to have their back anyway. It was announced earlier today that Joe Torre is going to manage the American League All-Stars with Aaron Boone. So a real difference in baseball minds going back and forth with the two managers of the American League. But Joe Torre was never a manager that was shy about calling out his players when they weren't performing well enough all the time. So I don't understand how Aaron Boone away with it. It doesn't make sense to me, Stacey.
Yeah, I said this on social media on Monday night, but Aaron Boone is the worst manager to have when the summer swoon starts for the Yankees. Like, he really is. It's just, I don't even know how to describe this play from them. It just always happens. It happens at the worst time. Like, you always think that there's going to be a year where they just fire on all cylinders. And ironically, that happened in 2019 when they had like 30 guys on the IL. That was the one year that they didn't have that summer swoon. They won 103 games. They were like a juggernaut, even with all these guys filling in all these different positions. But it just seems that under Aaron Boone, and I'm going to put something up on the screen for everyone, this team just has major issues in the summer in recent seasons. Now, 2023, obviously, because they didn't even make the playoffs. But if you look at 22 and 23, and you look at how bad they were in August of those 2 years,
pathetic.
It's so bad. Do you remember when that happened in 2022? And they were talking about how the Yankees hadn't been that bad in August since 1991. If you look up 1991, you'll see how bad the Yankees were in 1991.
We've made this joke a bunch of times when they're playing really well, Stacey, and the joke is that, oh, well, a garbage can manage this team, a traffic cone can manage this team because of the talent that's all there. Well, it's legitimately true with Aaron Boone because the one thing that a manager serves a purpose in today's game of baseball is motivation, getting guys ready to play, understanding the importance of the moment, and being prepared. Guess what game they weren't focused in last year? Game 1 of the World Series and Game 5 of the World Series. Game 5, which effectively lost them the World Series because of how bad and unfocused they were in that game. And what's worse is how unfocused they are through the midsummer months when they already have a lead in the division and they're already cruising throughout a season. He doesn't keep the team motivated through a whole 162. And you see even worse now through 3 consecutive shutouts, through 29 runs scored, still going out there telling his team that they're having good at-bats, that he likes what he's seeing when they've lost 5 consecutive baseball games. You saw it in the Dodgers series. You saw it in the Red Sox series. You saw it in this series now where they're about to get swept by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who they just swept about 2 weeks ago in their house. This is a prime example of a man who doesn't know how to manage his baseball team. He can't motivate them. He can't speak to them prior to a game. He is serving the same purpose that a traffic cone serves out there. They can win games because they have a straight amount of talent that almost anybody can win games with. But when it comes to motivating in the behind the scenes and the nitty gritty that a manager needs to be good at in today's game, he has none of that.
And you talk about the lead they have in the AL East, which has now shrunk, and the Tampa Bay Rays are nipping on their heels at this moment. So
the Rays don't lose. The Rays don't lose.
Yeah. So this is the 7th time in franchise history the Yankees have been shut out in 3 straight games. It's also happened in 2016, 1975, 1968, 1960, 1929, and that glorious year of 1908 that I already mentioned. They have never been shut out in 4 straight games.
It's incredible. It's embarrassing. The Yankees are third in the league currently in runs per game. That they've dropped from first. They've gone back and forth with the Cubs all year, but they've dropped from first. But get this, their runs per game currently on the season, third in the league behind the Cubs and the Dodgers. Their runs per game right now, 1 in the last 3 games. 1 is their average. That is it. 7.33 for the Dodgers, 2 for the Cubs, 5.55 for the Dodgers all season, 5.35 for the Cubs, 5.21 for the Yankees. It is as bad as it can possibly be right now.
What happened to the team that likes to score 5+ runs in an inning and have done it more times this season than they had in all of 2024? They have disappeared. Did the Royals have some sort of ceremony in Kansas City that did something to the Yankees? Because they've been horrible since they left Kansas City. I don't know what is going on. It's it's ridiculous. And then poor Will Warren, let's quickly say this. He led all rookies in strikeouts going into this game with 79 overall. He now has 90. He had 11 strikeouts, and his offense could not do anything for him. His defense betrayed him. Just awful all around. No blame on the pitchers. This is all the offense, obviously, because they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat at this point.
A notable mention for Will Warren, another career high for him. He's been absolutely incredible in the last couple of weeks, but really disappointing to not pick him up like that.
Yep. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reaction to trades, and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, usually correctly. Roster moves and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial, and as I said earlier, we have a TikTok page, LockedOn_Yankees. Go follow us there. Coming up next, the Yankees have a poorly constructed roster. We are going to talk about it.
You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's very easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over all of your finances. And Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you just stop managing your money and you start building wealth. And when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now I budget smarter and I save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan for some of those long-term goals. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and just so you can stay on the same page without all of that stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
So we have a new way for you to leave questions for Fan Mail Friday. If you go to our YouTube channel and you hit the post tab, you will see a post that tells you to leave your questions underneath. And the deadline is 5 p.m. Thursday. I think it's going to be that all the time. That's just the easiest time for us. And I would like to say before we start segment 2, for the past 2 days, I have gotten obnoxious texts from former co-host Steve Granado, who's an Angels fan. He keeps sending me gifs of Mike Trout smiling. So can the Yankees, please win the 3rd game of the series so I can send an obnoxious text back? Because I didn't do that when the Yankees beat the Angels in Anaheim. I didn't even think to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, not making the playoffs for 10 straight years tends to do that to people. So the Yankees do have a poorly constructed roster, at least from my point of view, going into this year. Now, you would think there's a lot of talent on this roster, and that's a good thing, but not so fast, Stacey. Baseball players are creatures of habit, and we've been saying this all year. We don't like, and I know baseball players in modern day don't like, the fact that the lineups tend to change every single day, and it doesn't keep them consistent. But it absolutely hurts when guys don't play every single day. At least when the lineups change, they're in the lineup every day.
Right.
They've constructed this roster pretty poorly because with injuries, it looked okay for the first 2 months. And without injuries now and the team getting healthy, There are plenty of guys that are going to be sitting every single night. I mentioned earlier on in the show, this is the 8th time in Major League history that a team has fielded a lineup with 4 former MVPs on the field. Stacey, those 4 guys are not going to get to play every single night. It's not possible. They're going to have to bench them certain nights to get them to play. Now, the only guy who's pretty much exempt from that is Aaron Judge. He's going to play in every single game. Other than that, they're going to rest Giancarlo Stanton. They've proven that they're going to rest Paul Goldschmidt because they sat him in the last 2 games prior to Tuesday night. And they've proven that they're going to sit Giancarlo Stanton as much as possible. They're probably going to sit, anyone else on this lineup. They're going to be rotating guys consistently throughout the game, and that is not a good thing. On Monday, Goldschmidt and Dominguez played, and I wonder how you feel about this because, in my opinion, Dominguez at 22 years old, I can live with Goldschmidt getting some rest here. You mean
they sat? You said played. You meant sat.
Oh, they sat. No, I'm okay with Goldschmidt getting some rest here and there, or more rest than the other guys. He's an older player who got up to a really hot start to start the year, but he has a tendency to slump, and he also could get hurt. So I have no problem with him sitting. The guy that I have a problem with sitting at times is Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez, in my opinion, needs to play 155 games this year. He needs to play as much as possible for multiple reasons. You are concerned with his fielding. The only way he's getting better is by giving him reps out there. You're concerned with his hitting. The only way he's getting better, seeing more pitches, seeing more at-bats. Also, he's 22 years old. You're going to know the kind of player you have if he plays a full season after this year. If you don't let that happen and you only let him play in 120 games because you're concerned with getting guys rest here and there, you're never going to get the full answer on what Jason Dominguez is. You need to get that answer. Plus, Stacey, I do think they kind of pigeon-footed themselves with Trent Grisham playing as good as he played in the first 2 months. They didn't expect that, so they were kind of forcing themselves to play him. Now that everybody's healthy, you have to move Trent Grisham back to the role that he's meant to be in as the 4th outfielder, and the standard outfield needs to be Bellinger in center, Judge in right, Dominguez in left. I don't know if you feel the same way, but that's got to be it to me.
Yeah, because they always tend to do this, and it feels like this is also a Boone thing, where they play a guy too much to the point where when he's awful, they won't take him out of the lineup, and it takes forever for them to take him out. Like, and it's not even just Boone. I mean, remember how horrible Josh Donaldson was, and it took them so long to not play him, and it was
Joey Gallo.
What are you guys doing? If these guys can't play and you have other people who can play in their place, do it. What are you doing?
Joey Gallo, Brett Gardner. I mean, there's tons of guys.
Grisham hasn't hit in a while. He really was like amazing in April and like the first half of May, and now he's fallen off, and we're already getting into past the midpoint in June and into late June, and he's not picking it back up. So why do you insist on having him lead off and have him in these big positions where he should only really be playing maybe a couple times a week?
So like I said, the only former MVP on this team that's going to play every single night is Aaron Judge. The other ones, Stanton, Goldschmidt, and Bellinger, they're going to sit certain nights. And I keep seeing a lot of Yankee fans commenting online and calling into sports radio, and they keep making this point. Well, they need to have a talented bench. It's good to have former MVPs on the bench. Look at the teams of the 90s, right? They had Darryl Strawberry and Cecil Fielder and Tim Raines. All these former MVP, great players that have been there, done that on the bench. The problem with that is those guys were in the twilights of their career. They were at the end of their career. They were experienced veteran players, and they had accepted the role of a bench player. They knew they were bench players. When they came to the Yankees, they knew they were going to be bench players, and they had bought into that role. Cody Bellinger did not come here to be a bench player. Okay? Giancarlo Stanton did not get traded here and waive his no-trade clause to be a bench player. Paul Goldschmidt did not sign here to be a bench player. Now, no one expected Ben Rice to be playing as good as he is, but it doesn't excuse the fact that these guys cannot be on the bench every single night. You need to play a consistent lineup, and you need to give these guys consistent playing time. This can't happen every single day where you're coming in not knowing who's playing, not knowing what position they're playing in, not knowing what spot of the lineup they're going to be in. You can't keep changing it this drastically every single day.
Well, here's something I'd like to bring up. How do you feel about the fact that they keep putting Jazz at third and DJ at second?
You know, it's funny because DJ came in playing really well, and I haven't seen great things out of Jazz's game. He struggled at the start of the season when he came in before he got hurt. Wasn't playing well, but we were giving it the more the credit of, guys get up to slow starts here and there. Jazz has not been good since he's been back off the IL either. You saw in the ninth inning of the game, in the 10th inning, actually, the extra inning games in game 1 of this series, Jazz came up with a runner on second base trying to hit the ball 900 feet and end the game right there. Instead of being a situational hitter and trying to just score the run and tie the baseball game, he got up there trying to absolutely murder the ball and hit it to the courthouses in straightaway center field. That can't happen. You need to have a more mature approach at the plate. Jazz Chisum Jr. is very, very, very focused on what Jazz Chisum Jr. is doing out there. And instead, he needs to be more of a team player and more contributor when he's batting every single time. So they've given up on giving Peraza his at-bats. They gave Peraza about a couple of weeks to figure things out, and that was it. They've brought LeMahieu in, and now LeMahieu is the everyday second baseman, and that's all they're going to do. They're not going to change things up. They're in a weird spot right now. Now, I'll give you this, Stacey. They did ask Aaron Boone after yesterday's game about the players not knowing where they're playing or who's playing or anything like that coming into each game. And Boone commented that everyone has bought into this form of the Yankees and this right way of the Yankees. And, quote, these things usually have a way of working themselves out. Now, we've heard that before, and I do kind of agree. These things do usually have a way of working themselves out. Someone always gets hurt. Someone always needs time out. That does happen. But saying that everyone's bought in, you're lying to yourself if you think that's true. There's no way they've asked all these players that. There's no way these guys have told you that, because there's no way any major leaguer, even a guy that knows he's a bench player, wants to play every single day. So there's no way that a guy like Giancarlo Stanton, who's hit 59 home runs in his season and has been one of the top players in the league over the last decade, actually said, yeah, I'm okay only playing 3 days a week. There's no way Cody Bellinger, who came here looking to get a massive extension going into next season, is like, I'm okay not playing as often. There's no way any of these guys are agreeing to that. So I don't believe that at all. I know he's trying to protect his players, but it's a ridiculous comment, Stacey.
Yeah. But we mentioned the fact that things were going to get dicey when these guys started coming back, because there was no room for people, and some guys don't have options. You can't send them down unless you want to risk losing them forever. Because don't tell me that there's a
good problem to have. I don't think it is.
Yeah, don't tell me there's a team that wouldn't pick up Oswald Peraza for his, at least for his defense. Someone would pick him up. And
oh yeah, he fit on a lot of teams perfectly. And again, this is not a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have when the problem hasn't arisen yet. It's a good problem to have when it's not showing itself yet. When it was 3 weeks ago and Stanton was still on the IL, everyone loved to say this is a good problem to have because they'll have an MVP caliber player coming off the bench and coming back in. Once this has actually come to fruition and no one actually got hurt, it's not a good problem to have anymore because you guys don't have time to play consistently. That's not a good thing at this point. Also, one more roster flaw that's extreme, Stacey. They don't have a right-handed hitting catcher on their team. Ben Rice is now the third catcher. He's a lefty. Escara, a lefty. Austin Wells, a lefty. That's a problem, too. They don't have a right-handed hitting catcher, and this is after letting Terrence walk to the Mets. This is after letting Narvaez go to the Red Sox. They had righties that fit this roster more and decided to let those guys walk. Again, major flaws in the way the roster is constructed, because having a right-handed hitting catcher would have allowed you to switch the lineup up and move guys around a little more. Now they don't have that.
Wasn't Trevino righty? Was he a righty? Yeah.
Yep,
and they traded him away too.
Not good. I know there's value usually in having a left-handed hitting catcher, but the Yankees, for the first time ever, are now two left-handed.
Yeah, it's weird, right? They went how many years being two right-handed, and now they're two left-handed.
You have to properly construct a roster evenly. If you're going to carry three catchers, how does one of them not hit righty?
Right.
Crazy.
All right, well, coming up, we'll preview the finale between the Yankees and the Angels, and we're going to take a look around the league next. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual. It's a lifeline. It's that thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning, and if it's that essential to you, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. So whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast you'll love. I took Trade's quiz. It only took me a minute, and the first bag they sent me was spot on. Not only do I drink it, I sniff it at least 3 times a day because it smells amazing. It's fresh, and honestly, it's ruined grocery store coffee for me in the best way possible. If your first match isn't perfect, Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your first month trial. drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. And not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant updates after every single game. You can check out the Locked On Yankees postcast, hosted by Jay Berman, right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on our YouTube channel. You get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. And poor Jay just has to go through all of the stats that we go through. Yeah, the Yankees haven't hit in 29 innings. Yeah, they haven't won in 5 games. You know, they've been shut out 3 times. It's been a lot of fun covering them over the last 5 or 6 days, huh?
If you need more misery, hit him up because it's a great show, but he's not talking about fun things right now.
No.
if you need news around the baseball world, Stacey, Pete Crow Armstrong, as we're recording this live, just hit a ball 452 feet off the center field scoreboard in Wrigley Field.
Wow.
Which is not an easy thing to do. So, a good trade for the Mets right there. Letting go of Pete Crow Armstrong. Smart move.
Pete Crow Armstrong, the son of the woman who played the mom in Little Big League. Is that the connection to the movie world? I love that.
Yeah.
I love all those movies. Little Big League, Rookie of the Year, Angels in the Outfield, The Sandlot, like all those kid movies that came out in the 90s about baseball, even though I was a bit older than the characters. Love them all.
Not a great trade for the Mets. I don't think it's working out for them at all. I forget the parameters, but hold on one second. So the Yankees will play a prime video game on Wednesday, 7:05 p.m. It'll be Yarborough versus Jack what?
Kachanowicz.
I mean, you're better at pronouncing it than I am. Kachanowicz?
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. There are so many pitchers in Major League Baseball that's names come up that that are impossible.
He pitched in the last series. We mentioned him in the last series. Yeah.
No, I'm aware. I just still can't pronounce his last name.
Kachanowicz. Yeah, even though there's a CZ, it's TZ. The pronunciation is TZ. Witz.
He's 3-8 with a 5.53 ERA. Ryan Yarborough's 3-1 with a 3.96. And it's going to be a role reversal because Kyle Hendricks dominated the Yankees while being a slow pitcher with the second lowest average velocity of his fastball in baseball. And now Ryan Yarbrough pitched for the Yankees. He has the lowest average fastball velocity in all of baseball. That's pretty cool to see. Did you like Garrett Cole in the booth with Kay and Frazier?
I actually did. I think he sounded great. I was a little worried because he's kind of like me where he says and when he's trying to think of things to say, because that's just the way my brain works. And he wasn't really doing that. Like, he really sounded natural in the booth. I think he did a good job.
He's a little awkward at times in the first couple of innings. It took him a little bit to warm up, but once he did warm up, I thought he was tremendous. I thought he broke the game down in a way that everyone wants to hear Garrett Cole break the game down. Really broke down Kyle Hendricks' cut changeup that he's throwing, which I've never heard of before. I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's a changeup that cuts. It's so weird, but I thought he was trying. I think he could actually do this for a living, like legitimately after his career ends. Like, he was that good.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe. I mean, I would assume the Yankees are making the playoffs, so he wouldn't be able to do Yankee games. But I think that he would be able to break down other games during the playoffs and maybe, like, if the Yankees don't make it that far, like, maybe Fox will pick him up like they did with A-Rod that one year and have him do games.
He's such a student of the game that I would be a fan of it. I love it. Like, he is such a brainiac when it comes to baseball. I would think it's great. Just to go over the news around the league. So, again, Peter Crow Armstrong did hit a ball 452 feet off the Wrigley Field scoreboard. Just to go over that trade again in 2021, the Mets at the deadline traded for Javier Baez and Trevor Williams for Pete Crow Armstrong, who was one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Now he's in the major leagues playing his butt off, and Javi Baez didn't exactly work out for the Mets, so not a great trade looking back on it.
But he's doing great. He's doing great this year for the Tigers. He's really, like, turned things around because it really looked like he was going to, like,
his career was going to be over.
Yeah, like, it really looked like his career was going to be over. He was terrible. Terrible. Like, anytime you saw him get up, you're like, oh, he's going to strike out on a pitch 15 feet out of the strike zone because he was just swinging at everything.
It's gone down as legitimately one of the worst trades in baseball history, especially from a Met perspective. You traded for Baez, he did nothing, you let him walk, and you give up one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Really, really, really not a good showing for the Mets in that trade. We did mention this earlier on in the show, but Joe Torre will manage the American League with Aaron Boone for the All-Star game. Aaron Boone obviously managing that game because the Yankees won the AL pennant last year. This is pretty cool, right?
Yeah, Boone requested it. He wanted to manage with Torre. I kind of wish he would have Torre in the dugout with him during other games.
About 10 minutes after this announcement came out, it was announced that Scott Proctor is going to be pitching all 7 of the first innings also. Tyler McGill is going to hit the 15-day IL with an elbow strain for the Mets. That's not a good thing. Elbow strain is never something you want to hear.
You never want to hear strain with elbow, ever.
Nope.
Forearm strain, elbow strain, nope. Those are the 2 worst things that you could hear.
Really bad sign for them, especially with the way their pitching staff's been. They're going to get Montas back fairly soon, but this could rush Montas back, who has not necessarily impressed in the minor leagues so far.
So can I talk about this next thing? Because I didn't get to talk about it on yesterday's show because of my technical problems, which, by the way, nothing. Okay, so Rafael Devers had his Welcome to the Giants press conference, and this is the funniest thing. First of all, Buster Posey apparently reached out to the Red Sox when he heard that there was a possibility that maybe the Giants could get Rafael Devers. So Devers was good in his press conference. He didn't play the Red Sox game, didn't trash them, didn't say anything bad. And now it's coming out that the Giants are saying Devers will be working out at first base.
No problem with that. He's got no problem with that now that he's in San Francisco.
Because what happened was, apparently, they basically promised him that they weren't going to go after a third baseman, and then they signed Bregman. And then they were like, oh, well, maybe you can move here. And then they started calling people. So, of course, he was going to be angry and be not happy with them and be a malcontent, according to them. But wouldn't you, if you were in Devers' shoes, wouldn't you be angry after you signed this big contract? They turn around and lie to you?
Yeah, no, I'd be a little pissed off, but then I would look at my bank account and I'd get over it really quickly.
Yeah, but you have to feel some sort of loyalty from your team and don't feel that they're pushing you off to the side and saying, okay, you could be a DH for the rest of your long career because we're going to get Alex Bregman and then we have these other prospects that we're going to bring up. When you lie to his, don't lie to his face.
I do think there's a little bit of evidence of tampering going on around the league because they knew that Rafael Devers did not want to play for a team that already signed a third baseman and had a third baseman on the roster. And then the Giants traded for him while they just gave Matt Chapman a long-term extension at third base, who's one of the better third basemen in all the league. Thought it was a little strange. That is a little peculiar that they go after him after they knew his unwillingness to not want to play third, to not want to not play third base. And then you have Matt Chapman, who's just got a long-term extension, who's a platinum glove defender and is not going to get benched out of third base. And you go out there and get Rafael Devers. It makes me think someone from the Giants might have got in Rafael Devers' ear just to make sure this was okay before the
Was it Buster Posey? Who knows?
Who knows? But it's very, very, very interesting how that works. By the way,
we're
Red
just
Sox ownership,
kidding. We're just kidding. It's like allegedly. We're just joking.
Oh, no, it's just a conspiracy theory. But Red Sox ownership made a comment also the other day, and they said the trade was more about, quote, alignment. Take that for what you will, but again, I don't love the theory that someone not conforming to the way that you want to run your franchise, if you don't like the way that he plays or carries himself or doesn't conform to the way your franchise runs, then don't give him a $300 million contract extension.
Yeah.
Trade him before that. His value's a lot higher before he gets paid, by the way. So it makes no sense. By the way, the Boston Red Sox a couple of years ago had 4 generational superstars on their team. They have let all 4 of them walk, 2 of them being traded, or 3 of them being traded, 1 of them signing a long-term extension somewhere else when the Red Sox weren't willing to pony up the money. 3 of them are playing in the NL West. Mookie Betts was traded for at least a good prospect. Rafael Devers was traded for not really good prospects. Chris Sale was traded for not really good prospects. And Xander Bogaerts signed with the Padres because the Red Sox were unwilling to put an effort up. Not a good look if you're a Boston Red Sox fan. So, yeah. Let's see how this goes. Rafael Devers is a San Francisco Giant, and I'm not really feeling that bad because I'm a Yankee fan. But if I was a Red Sox fan, I'd be angry.
Right. And they're playing this weekend in San Francisco, and all eyes will be on that series.
Think about the energy the Red Sox had coming into this year, Stacey. They get Garrett Crochet. They sign him to an extension. They sign Alex Bregman. They got all this good stuff going on around their franchise. And then less than 3 months in, Devers is unhappy. He gets traded for a bucket of baseballs. Make it make sense.
Yeah. It's actually funny that you said bucket of baseballs because I can't remember who it is, but she's on NBC Sports Boston, and she basically said the same thing. She's like, he was traded for a bag of baseballs. She was so angry. I was like, oh, I like her. I don't know who it was.
They put the pitcher in the trade on waivers as soon as they traded for him. The Red Sox. As soon as they traded for him, he went on waivers and cleared. So he's in the Red Sox minor league system. He went straight to Pawtucket.
Kyle Harrison, right?
But he cleared waivers and went on waivers. So keep this in mind. The Giants had 3 prospects in the trade. I don't remember their names, so excuse me for not remembering. There were 3 prospects in the trade. One of them was the pitcher that you just mentioned his name. Trevor Rogers, was it?
No, Kyle Harrison? Wasn't that his name?
Kyle Harris. I don't know why that name was in my head. Kyle Harris. They placed him on waivers almost immediately as soon as the trade went through. The Giants had the opportunity to trade that pitcher and then claim him off of waivers and get him back that quickly. So if the Giants didn't want to lose that player, they could have claimed him off of waivers and still let him go. So that's telling you something about the prospect they traded. This is a really, really, really bad sign. A really, really, really bad sign.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing, especially to watch this series over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to watch it, whether they're Red Sox fans or Giants fans. They just want to see what happens with Devers. Isn't that always the way? A guy gets traded away, and it's not quite the Ichiro thing where he just had to go to the visitors' clubhouse, but it's interesting to see when a guy gets traded and then he faces his whole team right away. So,
bet ESPN's
that should be fun. That should be fun.
I bet ESPN's kicking themselves with that game not being the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
That would have been must-watch.
I think everyone is. Yeah. All right, well, thank you guys for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, you get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.